3 weeks before opening night, the prop is missing. 2 volunteers have swapped shifts. Yesterday's lighting cue changed, but the rehearsal notes still show the old version. Everyone is working hard, yet nobody has one reliable place to see what happens next. That is not just a theater drama problem. It is a paperwork problem, and that paperwork may point to an overlooked KDP opportunity. Welcome to KDP Low Competition Niches Daily. Today we uncover a fresh, high-potential niche with strong demand and low competition. Here's your daily edge. We are looking at practical planners for community theater teams, not another broad acting guide, and not a generic notebook with a theater-themed cover. The opportunity is the recurring coordination work behind the performance. Think about a small production. Auditions need tracking, rehearsals need schedules and attendance, props need owners, locations, and status updates, costumes need checklists, scene changes need timing, volunteers need handoffs, budgets need notes. None of those tasks is glamorous, but each one repeats. That matters because a useful medium content book is often built around a repeated job, not a broad interest. There is an uncomfortable part, though. A specialized audience may be easier to serve and harder to reach. Some theater teams already use free spreadsheets, shared documents, or customized forms, so the paperback has to earn its place. It needs to be portable, easy to use during rehearsal, and better at handoffs than a pile of loose sheets. Low competition does not mean no competition. It means you may have room to solve the problem more precisely. I would test 2 related products. The first is a community theater production planner. It could serve volunteer producers, directors, production managers, school theater teams, and small companies mounting recurring shows. The second is narrower, a stage manager rehearsal, cue, and props log. One book looks across the production. The other follows the stage manager's working day. That distinction gives you 2 different buyer problems, instead of 2 covers wrapped around the same blank pages. For the production planner, picture an opening spread with the show title, venue, performance dates, key contacts, and production milestones. Add audition tracking, rehearsal calendars, volunteer assignments, costume and prop checklists, scene change planning, budget notes, and opening week tasks. Use blank role fields so the book can adapt to different crew structures. The promise is simple. Help a small team see the production in one place. The stage manager log has a different center of gravity. One rehearsal spread might include the date, scenes covered, attendance, blocking changes, unresolved questions, and priorities for the next session. A cue page could track the cue number, trigger, action, operator note, test status, and revision date. A props page could record the item, scene, owner, location, condition, preset status, and return status. Now the book is not merely a diary, it is a memory system for a moving production. Before designing either one, audit the shelf. Search separate phrases, such as community theater planner, theater production planner, stage manager log, rehearsal blocking log, and props checklist. Separate matters. If you combine every vaguely related notebook, your results become impressive looking but useless. For each phrase, inspect the first 30 highly relevant listings. 30, not 3, and not just the first result you happen to like. Record the title, subtitle, format, page count when available, list price, rating, review count, publication date, and the promise made by the cover and description. Also note whether the interior appears purpose-built or mostly blank. You are not claiming that every result is a competitor. You are documenting what a buyer sees after typing a relevant phrase. That is the real competitive environment. Use review count bands instead of letting one unusually large number dominate your judgment. For example, mark 0 to 10 reviews, 11 to 50, 51 to 200, and above 200. These bands are not a demand forecast. They help you see whether the search page is filled with established products or includes many lightly reviewed listings. Here is an illustrative snapshot. not live Amazon data. Imagine your 30 relevant results contain 18 general theater notebooks, 7 stage management logs, and 5 books with clearly labeled cue, props, or handoff workflows. That would not prove demand. It would show that the shelf may be thin in a specific functional area. Next, imagine most of the 7 logs have small writing spaces and no page for unresolved rehearsal questions. That is a stronger lead because it connects a visible interior gap to a repeated task. Check autocomplete as well. Type the core phrase slowly and record the suggestions. Try stage manager, rehearsal blocking, props tacking, cue sheet, and theater production checklist. Autocomplete is a clue, not a sales report. That distinction matters. Pair it with public buyer language from theater organization pages, resource discussions, and comments where people describe what they currently use. Listen for phrases like missed handoffs, duplicate spreadsheets, unclear prop ownership, rehearsal notes that disappear, or difficulty preparing the next session. The next check is the interior. Does the production planner include a single place for volunteer assignments? Are the budget pages designed for a small production rather than a corporate project? Is there a scene change checklist? In the stage manager log, can a user connect a cue to a scene, an operator, and a follow-up? Are props marked as sourced, repaired, preset, and returned? Write down what is absent, crowded, confusing, duplicated, or poorly explained. But do not treat every missing feature as a product advantage. So what qualifies? A feature that removes a recurring headache. If a handoff page helps one volunteer tell the next person what changed, what remains, and what needs attention, that has a clear job. If a decorative page only makes the book look fuller, it does not. Publish smarter, not harder. Utility comes before page count. AI can speed up this research, but only if you give it evidence and boundaries. Try this prompt. Analyze these publicly visible customer comments and listing descriptions. Cluster them by recurring workflow problem. Separate direct complaints from inferred needs. For the interior, use a second prompt. Compare these competitor books by function, not appearance. List the workflows each book supports. Identify fields that appear crowded, missing, or difficult to understand. Suggest 3 original ways to make a small volunteer theater's coordination easier. Exclude decorative ideas, avoid copying existing products, and explain the user problem solved by each suggestion. AI should organize your observations. It should not manufacture certainty or replace your judgment. Then, score the opportunity. Give demand a 1 to 5 score using search signals, repeated buyer language, and evidence that the workflow happens regularly. Give competition a 1 to 5 score, where 5 means intense, highly relevant competition. Give differentiation a 1 to 5 score based on interior improvements you can actually deliver. Add a confidence note. A score of 4 is not valuable if it rests on one autocomplete suggestion and a handful of loosely related notebooks. Now let us put numbers around the paperback. These are illustrative assumptions, not a promise. Suppose you create a large format 120-page paperback and list it at $15.99. If the applicable marketplace royalty rate is 60%, the royalty portion before printing is about $9.59. Assume a printing cost of $4.50. The estimated contribution is about $5.09 per sale, before advertising, taxes, design, research time, and software costs. That is contribution, not take-home profit. If your cover and interior costs $300, you would need roughly 59 sales just to recover that expense at $5.09 per sale, before other costs. If an advertisement adds $2 per attributed sale, the contribution falls to about $3.09. The point is not to make the niche sound smaller. The point is to make the decision more honest. Build 3 scenarios. In a conservative case, use modest sales and include production costs. In an expected case, use the result you believe is most defensible from your evidence. In an optimistic case, test stronger conversion or a related title effect. If the idea works only in the optimistic column, pause. That is a warning, not a business plan. Also, verify current KDP printing costs and royalty rules for the exact marketplace, trim size, ink type, and page count before publishing.
Catalog value comes later. A production planner could lead to a stage manager log, a props and costumes tracker, or a school theater edition with simpler instructions. A companion title makes sense only when it serves a distinct workflow. More books do not automatically create more value. A thin collection of repetitive forms can damage trust. Start with one excellent tool, learn from the response, and expand because the evidence supports the next problem.
You can test the first concept in 48 hours. During the first few hours, choose one audience. Volunteer stage managers in community productions would be a clean starting point. Write one promise describing the job the book helps them complete. Then draft 10 to 15 representative pages, a rehearsal spread, a cue tracker, a prop status page, a handoff page, an attendance page, and an end-of-week review. You are testing the workflow, not pretending to have finished a perfect catalog. On day 2, create 2 or 3 title and subtitle combinations using the language from your research. Compare the prototype with relevant listings. Can the buyer understand the use case in a few seconds? Do the pages reduce a real coordination burden? Is the difference visible in the preview? Set those questions before you interpret the response. Otherwise, enthusiasm will quietly move the goalposts. Keep the concept when several relevant search paths lead to the same recurring problem. The interior solves it clearly, and the economics remain reasonable under a conservative scenario. Revise it when the audience is interested, but the promise or pages are unclear. Reject or pause it when search language is weak, the problem is occasional, or the book would mainly duplicate free templates without a meaningful convenience advantage. A disciplined pause is progress. It protects your time and your reputation. So, the hidden gem niche is not simply theater. It is a recurring coordination problem inside a specialized audience. Test the production planner if the buyer needs a broad view of the show. Test the stage manager log if the buyer needs detailed rehearsal, cue, props, and handoff records. Audit 30 relevant listings. Record review bands, prices, page counts, and buyer language. Inspect the interiors. Use AI to cluster evidence, not copy. Score demand, competition, differentiation, and confidence. Model actual costs. Then prototype one focused solution. If you want help finding the right audience, validating keywords, analyzing competing interiors, or positioning a practical KDP book for a specialized market, explore my niche research and book positioning services. You do not need more guesses. You need a clear research trail, a useful product promise, and a prototype that earns the next decision. Apply this method to community theater or use it to investigate your own hidden gem niches. That's your actionable niche for today. Apply it and watch your author business grow. See you tomorrow. Publish smarter, profit faster.